The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's new $100,000 H-1B visa fee, calling it unlawful and a threat to American businesses' access to top global talent. In a lawsuit filed on Thursday in Washington, D.C., the Chamber asked the court to declare that President Trump exceeded the executive branch's authority by imposing the fee and block federal government agencies from enforcing it. The lawsuit marks the Chamber's first legal action against the Trump administration since it took office. Now, here's why the Chamber calls the move illegal and what it could mean for businesses and workers.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has launched a legal battle against the Trump administration over a staggering $100,000 annual H-1B visa fee, calling it unlawful and potentially devastating for American businesses. The fee, a massive jump from the previous $215 registration cost, applies to both new and renewal petitions, sparking widespread concern across industries that rely on skilled foreign talent. At the heart of the dispute is the Immigration and Nationality Act, or INA, the cornerstone of U.S. immigration policy since 1952. It regulates visas, citizenship, and naturalization. The Chamber calls the new fee unlawful, saying it breaks the INA by turning a routine application charge into a financial barrier. It accuses the administration of executive overreach, claiming the White House acted without congressional approval. The lawsuit also argues the change bypassed public consultation, violating fair process rules under federal law, and will make it nearly impossible for small and mid-sized firms to hire global talent. The Chamber's legal argument is clear. Under the Constitution, Congress, not the President, sets visa rules and fees. By using a national security clause to impose the new charge, the administration ignored the separation of powers. Businesses that typically pay a few $1,000s per visa are now facing a $100,000 bill, a sudden move that the Chamber says violates the Administrative Procedure Act by skipping transparency and review. The H-1B visa program has long been a critical pathway for highly skilled professionals in technology, engineering, healthcare, and research. It enables US companies from startups to global giants to hire top talent from around the world. The Chamber warns that the fallout could be devastating. The fee could push American companies from Silicon Valley to small town startups to move jobs overseas or scale back innovation altogether. That would hand global rivals like Canada and the UK an edge in attracting top engineers and scientists. For now, the fee remains in effect through September 2026, unless blocked by the courts. As the lawsuit unfolds, the country faces a pivotal question. Will America continue to attract the world's best and brightest, or will a costly barrier limit opportunity for businesses and workers alike? Bureau Report, DD India.
Let's now talk about the significant development. We have Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former senior diplomat, joining us to talk about it. Good afternoon to you, Ambassador Tayal. What do you make of the move, and do you feel that once again Donald Trump will get a setback where the courts are concerned?
If we look at President Donald Trump's track record of the last 9 months, he has repeatedly bypassed the Congress, and well-established rules, laws, regulations are being bypassed and circumvented with executive orders, presidential executive orders. And on tariffs and immigration, he has invoked the security clause, which empowers the president to issue this kind of executive orders. But obviously, there is no real security threat to the United States from H-1B visas. So the argument of the Chamber of Commerce in United States, where they have gone to the court, seems to be very strong and on very valid and firm grounds. But United States judicial system, as we all know, there are all political appointees, whether it is at the federal courts or at the Supreme Court. And the last 3-4 months, what we have seen that on many issues, even forcible sending of illegal immigrants to different jails in other countries and all kinds of issues, which have come to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court has generally sided with the president. because a majority of judges in the US Supreme Court are appointees of Republican presidents. So, yes, it's a very strong case in case it is judged in a fair and judicious manner and is not judged on the basis of partisan stance. And it will take time. Another thing, a caution one would like to put that the judicial processes in US take time. There are different levels: circuit court, federal court, and Supreme Court.
Yeah, this one is the district court in Columbia.
District court, then another level, then Supreme Court, and stays are given. So this battle must be fought both at the judicial level and also at some point in the Congress. At present, the Republican majority Congress, both houses, are very subservient to President Donald Trump, and they do not have the political courage to challenge, even when they feel like often that some of these measures are very high-handed, very arbitrary, and not in the interests of their constituents or of U.S. economy. But it is a good step that there should be pressure from different sides. But I will say another thing in this context for your viewers, that the American businesses, American entrepreneurs, American companies are very innovative, very flexible, and very quick on the uptake. So they have already started thinking of how to circumvent this in case they do not want to pay $100,000. Now we just read that Google will invest $50 billion in Visakhapatnam to create a data center for Google. And similarly, many companies, American companies, are readjusting their HR policy, that a lot of Indians would continue to work for them, but maybe sitting in India. And some very high value Indians will be taken by them on H-1B to United States, where they are comfortable paying 100,000 US dollars. So there will be some adjustment in case this new policy is not declared illegal by the courts. But another dimension of this whole problem is that at present there are almost 500,000, almost 500,000 Indians with H-1B visas in United States, and another 500,000 are their dependents. An H-1B visa is for 3 years, then extended for another 3 years, and then most of them get their green card or get some kind of another visa. But in case the green cards are delayed and H-1B visas are not extended, then there will be a great humanitarian crisis for many Indian Americans, Indians, and in fact they are all Indian passport holders, who are there in H-1B, but if their H-1B visa is not extended, because the policy of President Trump, as we know, is always so arbitrary, and it takes
It is arbitrary because when the proclamation came out on the 19th of September, it was said that it's a one-time fee, this $100,000. Clarification had to be issued from the White House because there was complete outcry as to what is going on, because annually, otherwise every time that the visa has to be renewed, the fee has to be paid, which ranges from $500 to $3,600 in certain cases. But this is an astronomical, 3x, more than 30x in fact jump. And that is what is one point, and the other of course is that it doesn't follow the kind of legal procedures, legal hoops it needs to jump through in order to be made into a law. It's just a proclamation.
President Trump is not very respectful of procedures, as we know, and he has his own mind, but he listens to the American business. If American employers, American enterprises, American top IT giant companies put pressure on White House, then he will listen to them. So pressure should be there on President Trump from a political side through the Congress, congressmen, senators, from the industry side, as well as from the judicial side. And hopefully this new law of $100,000 for fresh applicants for H-1B may also be deferred but everything is in a state of flux. One cannot determine any policy in President Trump's White House, as we know about tariffs and H-1B. So one has to adjust.
The other aspect is that if such roadblocks are erected in America for say talent from India or from other countries to go to America, then there are other nations which are trying to take advantage of the situation and
Canada has
coming up with,
already offered.
yes, Canada, even China with the K visa,
China has offered.
and
But our
Donald Trump should take note.
But our people will definitely prefer to go to Canada. It is just across the border, and they can all serve the American industry sitting in Canada. So there will be adjustment there, and I think since Indian talent is really very expert, they have an expertise. They are very much in demand, and ultimately they are part of any good business plan of any global company. So some way will be found by the industry, by the employers, to continue to employ Indians, whether in United States or Canada or India. But I see that future jobs will continue to come to our technical people because of their competence and skills.
And in the meantime, India continues to talk to the Americans about getting a trade deal through, where perhaps even the issue of visas might be one of the points that are being talked about.
Yes, in fact, now in our agreement, mobility is a very
Yes.
important dimension of bilateral, even FTAs, and but maybe perhaps President Trump's White House may not may like to separate the two issues, because otherwise it will become even more complicated. You know, as it is because of agricultural products and all of that. The India-US bilateral trade agreement is still a work in progress, and our team is in Washington. Russia, the extra tariff, that is also another issue. So there are many things in the air. One has to be very nimble, and our negotiators and our diplomats are very aware of all these issues which are